Okay, good evening everyone and welcome to tonight's broadcast of the ESL Go4WoT Asia May monthly finals. I'm GoGoGadget and tonight we're going to be covering the monthly finals, of course. A nice chunk of change on the line, $600 prize pool for these ones. First place team takes home a 300, second place 200 and 100 if you manage to come third. So right now we're just getting the tank picks underway for the first match that we're going to be covering tonight, SN versus Rebels. So let's go ahead and take a look at the head-to-head lineup between these two teams. So let's flick over to that one and we can even take a look at their nice logos as well. So SuperNoobs on the left there, they are, I think, definitely in a lot of people's favourites to win this cup. They've played exceptionally well the past couple of weeks. They're a very strong team, and I think they've made it to the grand finals of the weekly Go4WoT Cups more often than not. Rebel, of course, another very strong team, but I think they're going to have to work a little bit harder to take out the likes of the SuperNoobs tonight. So looks like we're getting the tank picks underway. Let's flick back in game to take a look at what we've got there. Of course, our first match will be in Himmelsdorf. So looks like we will be getting that one underway very soon. But let's go ahead and take a look at the tank picks. We've got two IS3s coming out there from Lord Bayushi over on the SuperNoobs side. And just flicking through the rest of them, Lord Bayushi, I should say on the Rebel side. SuperNoobs responded to that one with two AMX 5100s. Rebels picked two AMX 5100s again, that Tier 8 French heavy auto loader. Call Me Tenchi there for the SuperNoobs, picked two ISs. So looks like the SuperNoobs going for those two Tier 7 heavy tanks rather than the Tier 8 heavy and the Tier 6 light that we do see sometimes here on Himmelsdorf. What else have we got there? Two IS3s and a T32 for Rebel, and then SuperNoobs. And the last pick there from Rebel was that T37. So it's looking like we've got a fairly standard lineup, to be fair. Yeah, fairly standard lineup that doesn't nothing too much. It's kind of particularly interesting there. You know, these teams, they like picking those heavy tanks on Himmelsdorf. You've got lots of health buffer, you've got lots of damage. Those IS3s, fantastic at holding corners, side scraping, all of that good stuff. Like that T32 pick as well, which is the last pick there for SuperNoobs. And just scrolling up, yes, so SuperNoobs did also pick defense first, which is why we are seeing a slight little difference in the tank picks there, in that they're going for those two Tier 7 heavies, etc. And that's why Rebel have gone for that one Tier 6 light for a little bit of extra scouts, extra scouting potential, I should say. So right now we're going to be getting this one underway from the looks of things. So let's load into the map. We've got everyone in the spectator slot, so it is a packed room tonight, and great to see a few little tips popping up there as well. So let's go ahead and load in. I'm got to be tipping, I think, for this one. I'm leaning towards SuperNoobs, but we'll have to see. Rebel, they can be very aggressive at times, and they might just be able to pull out a win. We'll have to wait and see. So 15 seconds left on the countdown clock now as we're jumping into game. Let's go ahead and get in there right now. Okay. So I'm going to be rolling out with the guys from Rebel here as they do battle against SuperNoobs. And it looks like, ooh, that is interesting. It looks like we're seeing an early rollout here up towards the hill coming out from Rebel. So we don't actually often see that. Often teams, particularly on the attack here, will go through town towards maybe that maybe the 2 line there for a 2-line push, maybe go up the banana around that 7 line, but we don't often see a fully fledged hill push. So I'm really interested to see how this is actually going to turn out here for the Rebels. So let's take a look, and in fact let's go ahead and flick over towards their opponents, the SuperNoobs, see what they're how they're setting up. looks like at the moment Call Me Tenchi here going to be heading down the one line, getting some defensive positions there with his friends. Who else is that in the IS? We've got Hien in the IS as well. So, of course, Sunbow here in the perfect spot for a T-32, just hidden in here, and with only his turret armor visible pretty much, and that's exactly what you want to be doing as a T-32. For those that don't know, T-32 has very strong frontal turret armor, very hard to penetrate directly from the front, so that's why we're seeing him there. Right now though, it looks like Rebel are continuing to make a fairly strong push here down towards that 2 flag. So I'm wondering, did any of them get spotted out then? We'll have to wait and see. I don't see any rotations. Oh no, yes, I do see some rotations coming on from the mini-map. It looks like they have indeed been spotted there. Let's take a look at how it plays out as we've got Lord Bayushi, Lord Junzo, Rayfell here leading the charge in towards that 2 flag cap radius. And the SuperNoobs, they definitely know something's up there, sending their tanks back already, but it's going to be a while until they're back there. But there we go, the first shot lands. It's going to be Rayfell in that Tier 6 T-37 taking the first bit of damage. And very interesting tactic here from Rebel. They're trying to get the cap happening, but they're actually going to need to fight off that T-32 there. It's going to be giving them a lot of trouble already. We can see Lord Bayushi there taking a lot of damage in that IS-3, dropped down to 58% hit points right there. So that next shot did actually ricochet, but I like what they're doing here with their AMX 5100s. They've just positioned them so that any super noob that tries to kind of come from behind, try and get a flank on the main force is going to get really punished for it. But Tottenham going to have to be very careful of that one. Just dropped down to 49% HP himself, so really can't afford to be taking too many more of those hits. As we can see, the rest of the SuperNoobs have pretty much made their way up towards the attacking force here, and it looks like the full-fledged assault is on the Rebels, and the Rebels are taking some pretty heavy casualties. There we go, just like that. 1, 2, 3 tanks have fallen for the Rebels. AMX 5100, IS-3, and a T-37 down for them. A great defense so far from the SuperNoobs, but can the Rebels pull it back? They need to get some tank kills on the board. They need to wipe out some damage from the SuperNoobs right now, otherwise it'll be too late. But it's looking like that's what it's gonna turn out like, as Faliska takes down Build It. Finally, Lord Junzo puts a kill on the board for the Rebels there, taking down Faliska right after that, but too little too late. Only Oblax and Lazuk are left alive for the Rebels there. It is just a matter of time until the SuperNoobs finish them off. There we go, only 1 tank remaining on the Rebels. That's going to be Lazuk in his AMX 5100, only 51% HP as well. So that's going to mean that Lazuk getting cleaned up, and a very well played win there to the SuperNoobs in their first round of defense.
We can't fire accurately.
One more shot, let's take a look. There we go, Lazuk goes up in flames from that one, and just like that, SuperNoobs 1 game closer to taking out the Rebel Wolves in the quarterfinal. So let's take a look at the team score now, and we have got up the top there Lord Junzo for the Rebels, so fairly respected 1.5k damage there. But over on the SuperNoobs side, we can see that's a different story. Lysandra with that IS-3 dealt 2.6k damage, so very impressive stats up there. Sunbow as well, as we can see, 2.2k in the T-32. So El Payoso as well managed to get 1.5 in his AMX 5100. So overall, very nice defense by the SuperNoobs, but it is up to them now to show whether they've got as much going for them on the attack. So let's go ahead and get these next tank picks underway. And yeah, Tommy 16, 19, 11 there in chat saying Himmelsdorf OP, someone play Artie. And I think the day that we see Arties on Himmelsdorf in a Go4WoT monthly final might be the day that Arties need another nerf, if there could be such a thing. So alrighty, it looks like right now getting those next picks in. Okay, so the first pick there coming in from Rebel is two AMX 5100s, and the question here is going to be whether Rebel decides to go with that T37 again, or whether they decide to go for those two. Ooh, that is interesting. Okay. So they've gone for the two T29s, and that's why I was just wondering whether they would go for the two Tier 7s or the Tier 6 and Tier 8 again. So it looks like they've gone for the two Tier 7 heavies, but they've gone instead of the IS, they've gone for that American heavy, the T29. So I'm going to be very interested to see how they use that. I mean, probably be expecting that big 105mm gun on that. On both of those T29s there. Of course, T29's great in hold down positions as well. So I'm actually liking that those two picks there from the Rebels on defence. So I'll have to wait and see how it plays out for them. Next up though, two IS3s coming in from the SuperNoobs. So some fairly standard picks there. And of course, a fun fact for those that don't know, the T29, even though it is only a Tier 7, does have 279mm of frontal turret armour. So definitely have to place your shots carefully with that one. And looks like right now we're getting some tanks shifted over. Okay, and yeah, getting everyone shifted over to spectator mode, all of that good stuff, and we should just about be ready to go. I think everyone's picked their tanks. So yeah, the only real curveballs in there are those two T29s for Rebel. Everyone else just got those AMXs, IS3s, SuperNoobs going with the T37 on the attack there. So, and yeah, Dinklebottom's in chat. They're saying that was a fast pro match. That's a great thing about the kind of most recent change to competitive play in World of Tanks. For those that might have been following competitive World of Tanks, say a year ago, even longer before that, it did tend to get a little bit stale sometimes. Often a match on Himmelsdorf would be, whoever can last for the fourth tiebreaker, whoever gets bored first. But now, after those competitive changes to the game mode, so that we have the two flags now, all of this good stuff, it's actually very fast paced and nice and quick, which is great to see. But right now, let's go ahead and jump into game to see whether the SuperNoobs can take out Rebel Gaming in this quarterfinal in 2-0, or whether Rebel will have what it takes on the defense here on Himmelsdorf to pull it through to a third map. We've got 5 seconds left. I'm going to be rolling out with Rebel once again. Let's go ahead and take a look at their lineup, run through that and what they're piloting. Lord Junzo up the top there. You can see him in his AMX 5100. Totlim in that AMX 5100. Lord Bayushi going to be driving an IS3 out towards that 2 line, as is Build at 73, Oblax 79. Lord P-Man and Larzuk are going to be the ones in those T29s here. So definitely have to be keeping an eye on those guys, seeing how they do in the T29s. And flicking over, of course, to the opposing side, to the SuperNoobs. They're not going for a hill push there. They've decided, well, maybe we just better play it safe. And they obviously weren't too impressed with how well it went for the Rebels there. So they're going to be trying something a little bit more standard here. I think it's safe to say they've sent their T37 up on towards the hill. And we've got IS3s all around here and their two AMX 5100s. I don't think any shots have been landed so far, but this is interesting here. Coming out from the Rebels, they are a notoriously aggressive team, but this might be something else. We've got all of the IS3s actually making a very aggressive push in towards the SuperNoobs side of the map here, right down in towards this J line. And we can see from the mini-map there that the SuperNoobs, they're already moving up the banana there on that 7-8 line. So the Rebels, it's actually could be a very good move for them to move up. If they've picked that the banana push might be happening here, then they might be able to get on the back of it just in time. But look at that. We've just seen Lord P-Man manage to go down there. So some good shooting from the SuperNoobs side. Looks like they managed to clean him up just before, but there we can see that AMX 5100. Oh no, that is not good news there, as El Payoso goes down, caught out right at the back, and that is an important tank down for the SuperNoobs right there. A lot of firepower that's just been obliterated. So right here, NT lock with the AMX 5100 is going to be getting in towards the cap zone here. We can see Larzuk in his T29. Not going to be much of a match for these tier 8 heavy tanks once they get around and manage to, well, take shots at that weaker frontal and side armor. Looks like that Larzuk does manage to get one shot across, but the battle is on. We can see here this IS-3 Hien going to be trying to do what he can. The friendly base cap is already on 53, so whatever Rebels do, they're going to have to do it very, very quickly here. Lord Bayushi dropped down to 7% HP. One more shot's going to take him out. Who's that going to come from? It looks like one of the IS-3s there from SuperNoobs is going to be poking around the corner. We can see now Build at 73 going to be moving up and trying to defend his teammates. He's dropped down to 32% HP right there. Oblaks dropped down to 29%. The base cap still on 79 and rising. These guys need to get the cap up. Lord Bayushi, he's going to round the corner with 7% HP. Finally, NT lock goes down. Bayushi goes down. The cap has been made. With moments to spare there, as Lord Junzo comes around the corner, he was just about ready to let that shell fly and stop the cap, but just like that, the SuperNoobs do it in style and take out the quarterfinal against Rebel Gaming, winning that match. So let's take a look at the battle results now. Oblak 79 up the top there for Rebel Gaming with 1.5k damage, as was Lord Junso. But over on the SuperNoob side, we can see just about everyone pulled a lot of damage there as well. So we had Kormi Tenchi up there with 1.6k, Feliska with 1.5k, as did Hien. So there we go. Well played to those guys. And GG's. Great to see. Well played, yeah, to the SuperNoobs for taking out that one. And that's going to mean that the SuperNoobs are going to be advancing to face the winner of the match between NRD, No Real Danger, and Karen Tiger CT in the semi-final next up. So, guys, we're going to be jumping off to a short little break before our semi-final match that we'll be covering next. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back right after this.